Yes, now, ladies and gentlemen, I just watched Monday Night Raw. It's time to talk about it. I mean, where do I even start? Let's start with some non-title feuds, if I can remember them. Rusev and Sheamus, they're facing off at Clash in Paris. And again, they were doing those video packages back and forth, where Rusev had a promo package describing his point of view and his hatred for Sheamus. And then Sheamus did the same thing later on in the show. They did that with Damian Priest and Aleister Black. And then they did it with someone else. I can't even remember now. But good promo for fights, especially when you've got no matches and nothing to do. It's better than the filler crap they give us for the World Heavyweight Championship. I mean, every single week, Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed are beating up Jey Uso or LA Knight or CM Punk, and one of them comes out, make the save, and none of them do. I'm not even joking about 5 or 6 weeks in a row that's happened. It's beyond a joke. I don't know if they're doing it on purpose, but it's not a vision. If it's a vision, it's a bad vision, because that is a terrible way to end the show. Regardless, I like these video packages because they always deliver good promos, so I'm not going to complain about it. As for anything else non-title, I mean, we had New Day and Penta's feud continue after, well, Xavier Woods has been posting on his Instagram that Penta could have injured his neck, could have broke his neck, saying the Mexican Destroyer is another version of the pile driver and should be banned. So he played the gimmick very well, still in their grieving outfits, with a black neck brace on at ringside while Kofi had the match. Grayson Waller going around trying to get people to sign a petition to ban the move. They're obviously, you know, playing the role very well. And then they cheated and Kofi Kingston actually got the win over Penta, which Grayson Waller couldn't do and Xavier Woods couldn't do. So I'm glad to see the New Day still have some respect in the fact that they can win a match. That's what I like to say, you know, just because it's Penta, he doesn't have to win every match. So yeah, New Day won that match. Bayley's something I'm interested in, because last week, or well, the last few weeks, after she couldn't win the Intercontinental Championship, she fell out with Lyra Valkyria. She's been losing herself, and a couple weeks ago she was saying she felt useless, she's not her same self anymore, she doesn't know what she's good for. And then last week we heard the voices of Ding Dong Hello, the role model, the version of Bayley that was SmackDown Women's Champion and Tag Team Champion at the same time. The version of Bayley that was one of the longest reigning SmackDown Women's Champions of all time. And she had a dominant reign and carried Lockdown, obviously besides Drew McIntyre, but carried Lockdown for the women. That version of Bayley was ringing in her head. And this week, the voices came again. Except this week, it was the voices of the original Bayley, the hugger Bayley, the younger version of Bayley from NXT, who came up to the main roster, won the Raw Women's Championship, and was a babyface. That voice was trying to get into her head, saying, "Look, don't keep yourself down. You know, you didn't make it at WrestleMania this year, but you have done before, and you can't do it again." And that oldest version of Bayley got into an argument with the latest heel version of Bayley, and they were all. And it was weird, because the current version of Bayley, who couldn't measure what was better for herself, whether it was the current self, our older heel self, or our oldest babyface self, she couldn't handle it all, and she just mentally crashing. And Lyra Valkyria, despite having a bit of a dodgy relationship with Bayley, was actually talking to Adam Pearce and requesting Adam to do something about it, saying Bayley's not okay, someone needs to check on her. So I'm wondering if Lyra's actually, despite pushing Bayley away initially, if Lyra's actually going to be the one to come to Bayley and try to make things better and check in on Bayley, and then Bayley's probably going to be the one to push her away and turn heel, potentially. But we don't know. I really do hope, though, because heel Bayley, although I'm a fan of Bayley and babyface Bayley, I'm never going to complain. I'm never going to play with Bayley altogether. But that original, like the recent Damage Control heel version of Bayley was alright, but Lockdown Bayley was where it was at, so I need that. I genuinely need that. In other news, not revolving the Women's World Championship, because we're still undecided where that's at. I'll get into it in a minute. But after all the shenanigans with Io Sky and Rhea Ripley and the Kabuki Warriors, after Io pushed the Kabuki Warriors away, said don't get involved, but then Rhea came to make a save on Io, and Io thanked Rhea, and then Kabuki Warriors were like, what the fuck? And then they started arguing with Rhea. Well, this week, Rhea had a match with Raquel Rodriguez. With Roxanne Perez scheduled. But before the match, Io Sky said, look, Damage Control are like family. I respect you, but we're going to have to start distancing, because this is only going to make things worse. And Rhea was like, fair enough. But then Io goes back on her words, because after Rhea beats Roxanne Perez, obviously Raquel and Roxanne try to beat up Rhea Ripley, and Io Sky comes to make the save. And after the match, they're all friendly again, acting like Io didn't just tell Rhea to back off. And in the background, you can see Asuka and Kairi, well, in the background when she was telling her to go away, Asuka was going insane. Like, what's she doing? But obviously Asuka couldn't hear what she was saying. But then after Io made the save, Asuka doesn't care what she said before. Now Asuka's done. She's like, now what is this? So again, more arguments leading somewhere. But I hope it gets somewhere eventually. Is Asuka going to turn heel? Where does Kairi stand? Because she's in the middle, but she's kind of sticking to Asuka's side. Asuka's kind of right. She's got a point. And where will Io go? What will happen to Io? Will Rhea be involved? We don't know. But regarding those women, Stephanie Vaquer is the only one pulling Adam Pearce up on this Women's World Heavyweight Championship, because there's been no announcement of a Battle Royal, a tournament, whatever. Adam Pearce says no matter what, you are still the #1 contender, because she earned that shot at Evolution. However, it won't be in Paris because there's not enough time. And he says he has an A opponent in mind, and she just needs to give Adam Pearce another week to finalise it. Well, I feel like I know who that opponent is. It's obviously Io Sky, because Io was supposed to face Naomi for that title as well. And then that was the night Naomi relinquished the title. So I feel like we're probably going to get Io Stephanie finally. And I pray Stephanie wins that title and they give her a bit of a push, because Io's tied up in a story. And it would be a great way to have Asuka turn heel. It would have a great way to make the story way more interesting if Io lost that match. Plus, I feel like if Naomi cashed in the Money in the Bank and then lost it, had to relinquish it, and then it went straight back to whoever was holding it, that would be a bit pointless, wouldn't it? Let's be honest. So, yeah. I don't feel like Io winning the title would be a good idea, but Io Stephanie with Stephanie winning the title would be a great idea. My other fear is that while Io's going to get distracted in this Kabuki Warrior story, they're going to have Rhea Ripley be the one to face Stephanie Vaquer for the Women's World Heavyweight Championship. Now, my problem with this is, despite the fact that Rhea is more decorated than Stephanie Vaquer and is probably a heavy favourite and is one of the biggest superstars in terms of fan favourite and popularity in WWE, we are also closing in on Crown Jewel in Australia, where they will most likely headline Rhea Ripley. And if they're headlining Rhea Ripley, it's either for the title or she is already currently champion. So if this match happens before Crown Jewel, this means Rhea needs to go in as champion, and they're not going to have Stephanie Vaquer be champion for like 1 or 2 days or a week or two. So which means Rhea might become the next Women's World Champion. Or if Stephanie wins it, Rhea's going to win it at Crown Jewel. Regardless, I feel like they're going to go with the Rhea option because Crown Jewel's right there, and I don't think they want Rhea to lose in Australia. While it's not the end of the world, everywhere else has their hometown heroes losing their hometown. In Australia, I fear that because that PLE's around the corner, Rhea Ripley's taking that title, and it's a shame. My other thought would be that it would be between Io and Rhea, and then they'd make it another triple threat match, and then have it with Stephanie Vaquer, and that would mean Rio and Io have put on a banger of a triple threat match with Bianca Belair, banger of a triple threat match with Naomi, banger of a triple threat match with Stephanie Vaquer. That would be an interesting dynamic. Because they proved they can do it, and they proved they can do it one-on-one. Every time it's like in the conversation for match of the year, but Io and Rhea one-on-one was the match of the year, let's be honest. But I've just had another thought as I'm talking right there. He said he had someone in mind, didn't mention it. I feel like if it was Rhea or Io, he'd mention it. He wouldn't need another week to finalise it. Well, Judgment Day are tied up with Rhea Ripley. Who else in the Judgment Day used to fight for the World Championship but is out for injury? Liv Morgan. What if it's Liv Morgan? If it's Liv Morgan, then we can guarantee Liv Morgan's win the title, because they're not bringing Liv Morgan back in a big moment like that when the title's got no one to hold it, and then hope that they're going to put it on the newcomer. Absolutely not. They're going to put it on Liv Morgan. So I pray Io is Stephanie's opponent, because I feel like that is the only chance we have of Stephanie Vaquer, La Primera, of being Women's World Heavyweight Champion. So let it be Io Sky, and let the Kabuki Warriors Costa. Anyways, rant over the World Heavyweight Championship. Over. Women's Intercontinental Championship. We know, as fans, Nikki and Becky is going to happen at Clash in Paris. We knew that before the show started, before they confirmed it. After the promo battles, and then Nikki jumping Becky last week. They said this week Nikki's coming out to call out Becky Lynch. Well, Becky Lynch came out first because we're in England. Becky understands Becky is the best promo artist. Nikki Bella's not been great on the mic the last few weeks. However, when she came out this week, it seems like she was a bit more prepared. She had good one-liners. She got the crowd behind it. She flowed nicely. Nikki Bella has improved. She's worked on the promos. Maybe she just needed to get the rust off, and she's a bit less rusty now. I don't ever remember Nikki Bella being that good anyway. I know she was a main event superstar and she was a longest reigning champion and stuff like that. But at the same time, I don't remember her ever being that good on the mic anyway. But she certainly got better. I don't know if this was a better prepared promo, but it was certainly a lot better. Both of them were giving it back and forth. And now we've got it confirmed for Clash in Paris. And while it's a nice match, Nikki Bella's not winning that title. And if she does, I think I'll be mad. Because Becky's on a generational run right now. And Nikki Bella doesn't need to win that title. Because let's be honest, if she is back to full-time and this isn't just a seasonal thing for her, she needs to earn some more flowers. And she needs to do something else rather than just come in and take a title. You know how wrestling fans take to stuff like that. If wrestling fans see someone who's retired or not in it anymore and then they just come back and win titles, look at what happened to Charlotte Flair. Look at what was happening to Brock Lesnar at one point. Look at what they used to say about John Cena. Fans aren't going to take that too kindly, so don't let it happen. I don't think it'll happen anyway. I feel like WWE know what they're doing. I feel like they have their faith on Becky Lynch. Don't get me wrong, WWE have made some many repetitive and stupid mistakes, but this one I don't think there's enough hype for that one. So yeah. As for the Intercontinental title picture, well, obviously we know Judgment Day are having a bit of a feud with LWO and Dragon Lee and AJ and whatever. When they first walked in, again, Dominic Mysterio was having a bit of a chat with El Grande Americano, and they're all getting suspicious because why are you chatting to him and not telling us what it's about? And he's always saying, oh, trust, it's going to work, trust. But he's never telling me why. And then when Finn was at ringside with JD in his match against Dragon Lee, Finn got ejected. Then when Dominic tried to get involved, AJ was there to take him out. And it cost JD the match against Dragon Lee. So Dragon Lee's probably chasing that Intercontinental Championship as well. Or maybe he's just got some blood feud against, well, the Judgment Day and El Grande Americano. But as for AJ Styles, he then took on Finn Balor later on that night, which is nice from WWE. I'm glad they had the knowledge to know that no one would appreciate AJ Styles versus Finn Balor more than British fans. I mean, it wasn't their greatest match. Like, it wasn't no TLC 2017. It wasn't no Japan match that they've probably had. But it's Finn Balor versus AJ Styles. For the culture, you got to do it. And, WWE Universe, not just UK, like, they're all behind AJ Styles right now. And honestly, I don't know why. I thought we already had AJ Styles, Dominic Mysterio confirmed for Clash in Paris. But I must have just been imagining it because it's not happening at Clash in Paris. It is happening in Paris the night after. I just feel like they don't have space on the Clash in Paris card, and they'd rather have Nikki Bella, Becky Lynch, and they'd rather have Rusev and Sheamus. Don't get me wrong, those matches are good. They'd rather have Logan Paul waste John Cena's retirement tour than have AJ Styles, Dominic Mysterio, which would be a great match with great heat, with a great reaction, with AJ winning the belt at Clash in Paris. No, that one can be on Monday Night Raw, can't it? Piss me off. But regardless, Adam Pearce confirmed it's happening the night after Clash in Paris. AJ Styles better win that title. Dominic doesn't need it because Dominic's going to win that AAA title because El Grande Americano is going to help him take it off of El Hijo del Vikingo. Yeah? AJ Styles is in his last year. Give him the Intercontinental title. Dominic don't need it. He just doesn't. He's got so many years left in the business. He's got world titles to win. He don't need it. But yeah, that's where we stand with that. And apart from that, we did open up the show with Roman Reigns doing a promo. And he was alluding to something, but we didn't quite get what. Because he said, I need to be honest, I'm not the same man I used to be. So I don't know if this was him saying he's getting rusty, he's not got long left. But before we could get to any of that, he was distracted by crowds and Bronson Reed came out. We had a great promo between Roman and Bronson Reed. Paul Heyman playing well with the crowd. I'm not going to repeat anything of the promos because A, I forget, B, if I do, I won't be able to translate my thoughts and opinions about the significance and the greatness of these promos through my speech. I feel like I don't play things out very well. I have lots of thoughts in my head that swirl around all at once and procrastinate and then just come out in a loaf of shit. That doesn't even sound relevant at all. So I'm not going to bother repeating the promos. Go watch the promos out. Great promo. But we know we're getting Roman Bronson Reed at Clash in Paris. And this I like because Seth's got many avenues with the World Championship and he's got many challengers. And Roman, while we still need to keep him active, we also need to build up these stars, putting these stars with Roman Reigns. Mind you, Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker better not beat Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns better to win, but making them put on a good performance in that main event spotlight, it's going to put some heat on them. Name anyone who faced Roman Reigns during his world title run that didn't get some popularity after. You could argue Finn Balor, but Finn Balor's doing great. He's been in the Judgment Day. Finn Balor before then wasn't really doing anything. He went back to NXT because things were that bad, you know what I mean? So after the Demon lost to Roman Reigns, I mean, he came back as part of the Judgment Day. Come on, that's great faction. Literally no one. Matt Riddle was on fire. Sami Zayn has only got bigger and bigger. Randy Orton was already big. LA Knight has only gotten bigger and bigger. Like, the only people I can name are, like, Rey Mysterio, but that's just because he's retiring, really, let's be honest. And, like, what? Edge and Daniel Bryan, and they went to AEW and still became bigger than they were. Literally no one. So putting Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker in the ring with Roman Reigns, regardless win or lose, putting on a good match, putting on a great story and a great show, it's going to propel them. It simply is. And it gives time for Seth to explore other storylines before we eventually culminate with Seth and Roman. Hopefully at WrestleMania, hopefully for that world title, where hopefully Roman Reigns wins. I'm not so bothered about who wins between Seth and Roman, but I'd love to see the big gold on Roman Reigns before he retires. That belt just looks like it suits Roman Reigns. If Roman Reigns' 1,000 whatever day reign was with a world title, imagine how sexy that would have looked. Like, that is a Roman title. Let's be honest. His name's Roman. Look at the title, man. Come on. And I feel like at WrestleMania, Roman winning that title in his last year or two, it's going to be great. It's going to be great, right? That needs to happen. So having Roman putting over the younger stars before he leaves and before he has his last kind of stand, it's what's needed. It's what needed. And also WWE, you know what else is needed before Roman Reigns retires? While he wins that world title off of Seth, bring back Dean Ambrose. I'm not calling him John Moxley. I like Dean Ambrose. I'm not an AEW fan. I'm not now against it. I've always been a WWE fan through and through. Bring back Dean Ambrose before Roman Reigns retires. Bring back Edge before John Cena retires. Come on, man. Use your brain. Come on. There's so many obvious shit that wrestling companies don't bother about. I hate how they're preserving John Cena's retirement tour. He should have been wrestling on Raw and SmackDown against the superstars we wanted up the face, like Dominic Mysterio, Sami Zayn, Jacob Fatu, AJ Styles, and not just appearing to do promos and then on a PLE you'll face a star that you could post on Instagram and get lots of likes, like Logan Paul, or like a tag team match. 2 tag team matches now, I'm pretty sure. Am I wrong? I mean, he teamed up with Logan Paul against Jay and Cody, and he teamed up with Cody against Drew and Logan. I mean, come on, we're wasting this, man. John Cena set up himself in a promo to Logan Paul. If WWE and John Cena can point it out, then why is it happening? Come on, man. But anyway, yeah, besides that promo, Roman backed Jey Uso and said, look, anyone who says Jey Uso doesn't deserve to be in this match, you're wrong. Jey Uso was the one who pinned Bronson Reed at SummerSlam. Jey Uso deserves to be in that match. He is the one who has rematch clause, who hasn't cashed it in yet. If anyone deserves to be in that match, it's Jey Uso, and fair enough. Roman Reigns is back in his family, and backstage he was giving that advice to Jey Uso because Roman Reigns was once on top when Jey Uso was his sidekick. Well, he was his company, really. And Roman Reigns is passing the torch. He's giving Jey the necessary advice he needs. And Roman said he's not abandoning the world title picture. He said he'll get there, but he's got other things to deal with first, and that's Bronson and Braun. Roman needs to find himself again. Roman needs to pick up that second wind. He says he's not who he used to be, but he can be, which means not right now, but he will be. He will when it's necessary or when he's ready, and that's what I love. And then there's been the whole CM Punk and LA Knight doing promos on each other, because throughout this whole thing, although CM Punk's trying to get everyone to team up and fight the numbers of Seth, Braun and Bronson, there's always this competitiveness between CM Punk and LA Knight. And while them two are distracted fighting each other, Roman Reigns is getting Jey Uso's head in the game so Jey Uso can try and win the World Heavyweight Championship. If only Jey Uso hadn't been World Heavyweight Champion yet, this would have been a perfect storyline for Jey Uso to win the world title. Hear me out on this. Gunther retained at WrestleMania. Yeah, you don't have the unbelievable moment of Jey Uso tapping out Gunther. That seemed a bit stupid, especially the way it did, in 2 seconds. Right. Gunther retains at WrestleMania, remains the dominant champion he is, holds that title all the way through to SummerSlam, so he's had the title roughly a year, and then loses it to CM Punk, so it's an even more impressive win for CM Punk. It's an even more impressive match. And then after Gunther's year-long reign that CM Punk's just ended, then Rollins can cash in, and after like 5 minutes, Punk is no longer champion. Seth is holding that title with his dominant crew. And now, with Punk and LA Knight distracted, Jey Uso has the perfect story to be the underdog, the one who's underestimated, the one who can take the title. I'm not saying it should have happened at Clash in Paris, but he could certainly, if Seth retained, he could certainly jump ahead in the queue above LA Knight and CM Punk while they get distracted with each other and eventually dethrone Seth Rollins at some point. I just feel like they pushed Jey Uso, like they forced them down our throats, and I don't think that's how it should have been. They should have thought long-term storytelling. Because what happened, Jey held the title for a month or two just for Gunther to win it back, and then Gunther to lose that in a month or two to CM Punk. It's stupid. What would 4 months extra Gunther reign hurt? And what would postponing Jey Uso's world title reign hurt? It wouldn't. If anything, it would have done better. But anyways, it is what it is. The night ends with LA Knight and Braun Breaker in the main event again. They're putting Braun Breaker in the main event all the time now. It's obvious they want him to be a star. They are forcing it down our throats. To be honest, that one I don't mind, because Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, they're great in the ring. They need some mic work, but they're fine. And Seth was hyping them up backstage, as he always does. It's the same shit, really. Like, they're really just like, acknowledge us, because they're just doing the same shit, the same promos every week, same fights, same matches. And obviously it all ends in a fight where CM Punk comes out at the end to try and make the save. And then they all end up fighting. And then either the Vision have them all down or the Vision back out. And then CM Punk and LA Knight start fighting. But after this one, Jey Uso had enough. He took any advice Roman Reigns said. He said, yeah, don't do it for them, do it for yourself. And he super kicked both LA Knight and CM Punk. He said, fuck your team, CM Punk. He said, fuck you, LA Knight. He said, fuck you, Seth Rollins. I'm coming for that world title. And that's the way it ends. And I like this. I like the story dynamic. Unfortunately, it's just not executed well, because they're doing the same shit every week. And it's very obvious that in the match, LA Knight, CM Punk are going to be distracted with one another. And then Jey Uso's going to try really hard, but there's going to be Braun and Bronson, and Seth's going to retain. But obviously Seth should retain. You know, Seth shouldn't be losing that title anytime soon. Seth should be holding the title for nearly a year. Do you know what I mean? At the minimum. But, you know, as long as they deliver a good story and it's done with good booking and good planning, I don't mind. But anyways, that's my Raw reactions. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.